Hi everybody, it's Wednesday. You know when you go into a bookstore and you see the different categorization of books and toys and calendars and whatever else it is that bookstores are selling these days? There's the kids section, which in most bookstores I've been in is like a play area filled to the brim with books for beginning readers through advanced readers, usually under the age of 12. The rest of the books in each store are usually categorized by fiction, nonfiction, and young adult, which is often the smallest section. I usually see something along these lines as far as YA Lit goes. Exactly 2 bookshelves, front and back, dedicated to YA. Here's the thing, there's this stigma that surrounds YA Lit, usually pertaining to the fact that it's written for, well, young adults. This kind of stigma pushes people away from buying and reading YA Lit because negative perceptions almost always cheapen the experience of reading. This stigma also leads some people to believe that YA Lit doesn't deserve the recognition that it gets as a genre, and that actual adults should move on from childish notions of love and adventure to, I guess, more adult notions of love and adventure? A lot of stigma also stems from the fact that nobody can really put an age cap on young adult fiction. Sometimes the cap starts at 12, sometimes at 10, depending on the literacy level of the reader, and I'm assuming whether or not the parent or guardian of the reader is present in the book selection process. Sometimes it ends at 18 or 19 when legally childhood ends. But then again, sometimes it also gets capped at closer to 25. Some people believe that young adult fiction is just too broad of a category. These people usually cite that it's easy to figure out what belongs in children's literature. Characters usually deal with more shallow themes rather than complex ones, or at the very least, literature that is identifiable by young children and doesn't really delve into explicit adult themes. The previously mentioned group of people also seem to believe that adult fiction is easy to spot. Characters are generally older than children and deal with complex themes in mature ways. That's about as broad as I can get with adult fiction, because adult readers can find themselves in almost any piece of literature by those standards, and adult fiction has many subgenres within the overarching genre. Even so, there are some authors that are embarrassed to be categorized as a young adult author. Isaac Marion, author of Warm Bodies, one of my favorite books, actually believes that readers have turned their nose up because his book has been categorized as a young adult novel. He stated in a 2012 conversation on his Facebook page, "The only function of the YA label can really serve is to warn adult readers, stay away from this if you want substance." Which is really unfortunate because no doubt a lot of substantial books get buried by this label. He's also said that he believes that young adults should read any kind of book they want. Then there are those people that believe that adult readers should stick to books specifically catered to adults, and that if they stray to any other kind of categorization of book, they should feel embarrassed of themselves and their choices. You can tell by my face that I have a problem with this. Ruth Graham from Slate honestly, truly believes that the people that are over 18 that make up the 55% of personal YA sales as of 2012 should be ashamed of themselves for enjoying authors like Veronica Roth and John Green. But these standards leave me and people like me asking, why is it so bad to be a young adult? What's wrong with this categorization? And why can't we just enjoy the literature within it? Being a young adult means being in this weird phase of life where your body changes and your mind changes in deep intellectual ways and you don't always know how to deal with yourself or the world around you. I remember that when I felt this way, that I didn't really recognize myself in the novels we read in class or in the adult novels that my friends enjoyed. And I also only saw a small, sometimes distant part of myself in the children's literature I had once enjoyed. I wasn't Angelina Ballerina anymore, but I also wasn't really Elizabeth Bennet yet. Like Isaac Marion, I believe that anybody should read whatever they want within their set capabilities. But I can't help but come back to the idea that more often than not, young adult experiences, and especially experiences of young women, are often trivialized and forgotten about. And I'm speaking in general terms here because I'm completely aware that there's a lack of racial representation in all forms of literature. YA Lit is not excluded from that. But I think that's an issue worthy of its own video, so I'll probably delve into it at a later time. For now, I'm just focusing on these stories and experiences and the lives of adolescents. These things just aren't represented in adult fiction, and if they are, they're not capitalized on. There seems to be this idea that young adults may not want to see themselves in the literature that they're reading, but that's a silly idea because it's quite obvious that children and adults do want to see themselves in the literature that they're reading. I mean, Harry Potter and the Da Vinci Code wouldn't be as immensely popular as they are if the people that are reading those books didn't care about seeing themselves represented. YA author Carol Tansman said it best, if you ask me. YA grew as a specific genre to meet the needs of readers who want and need to see a world that reflects their concerns, wishes, dreams, fears, whether in contemporary, dystopian, sci-fi, etc. They can then have an opportunity to reflect upon something that interests them, as all good literature leads readers to do. Also, there's a huge crossover that shows that teen concerns are interesting, relatable, familiar to adults. I guess what I'm ultimately trying to say is that if you are a writer or a reader or a lover of YA, you don't have to feel ashamed of that, no matter what your age is. YA is here for you. YA deserves more bookshelves and greater recognition than it gets. YA is worthy of being more diverse and reaching greater audiences than it already does. And you as a fan of YA deserve to feel good about what you read. Alright, if you like this video, please thumbs it up. If you're not subscribed to us, please do so in this general area and also below near the description box. The Scrivener and I will see you next week. And P.S. the Scrivener and I have some really cool things planned for October that we're really excited about, and I'm going to get really excited right now because I'm really excited about what we're doing for October. We'll tell you about it later.